morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome again to another program, another episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. I welcome you once again to a pleasant morning and hope you're ready and fired up as I am to be made aware of what is going on. Now, as we would normally do, let's start by giving praise and thanks to the Almighty for allowing us to be here another day to see the dawning of the new day and to give thanks and praise for being in the land of the living. So welcome, good morning. And I will encourage you to share the live stream. We are on. Let's give the others some time to join. Call a friend, tell a friend that Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence is on. My apologies for not being able to stream last week. That was due to some other commitments, but I'm determined to make sure that you are informed of what is going on. So here I am this morning, once again, to bring you up to date with what has been transpiring. You know, we talk about incompetence, we talk about corruption, and therefore I will highlight some of these issues. And as I've said, let me give you time to share and for pass the word for others to join, including those who are just joining, to make sure that they record what I'm saying with the view of trying to close the program down, to try to shut me down. That is not going to happen because as I've said before, anything that I have said and will say on this program can be proven, can be substantiated. I made that proclamation repeatedly. I am not going to come here and tell you things that are not true. I'm not going to come here and tell you things that cannot be supported, cannot be substantiated. So the efforts to shut me up and the efforts to shut the program down are not going to be successful. So share the stream, call a friend, tell a friend, and we are ready to go. I think this is our 11th episode. And again, I say apologies for not being able to stream last week. Some work commitments, and I really could not have been able to run with the program last week. I want to start this week's program on a sad note. That is referring to the incident at Brigham a few days ago, where a young lady shot and killed herself. Well, she's reported to have shot and killed herself. And again, I read the release from the police corporate communication unit. A lot of questions have been raised in my mind. We know from past experience, from what I've been telling you, the corporate communication unit, I want to think that sometimes they believe that they're auditioning for script writing in Hollywood. They give you all kind of unnecessary details. They tell you about in some instances, the name and the rank of the policemen who are involved in routine and other operations. On one occasion, they tell you about more than one occasion, they tell you about the motorcycle number that is used in an operation, the vehicle number. A lot of irrelevant details. But here it is. You have this very sad incident at the Brigham police compound, and the release that is given does not, in my mind, tells you, it doesn't see anything about whether the person is a licensed firearm holder. It doesn't say what type of firearm was used. You know, in one instance, I think it was at Buxton, they talk about suspected ammunition. I suspect, therefore, they're waiting to tell you about suspected firearm. But it raises lots of issues. Security of the ranks at the location. Again, the procedure in dealing with persons entering police stations and compounds. So let me address that. Because you may recall, I reminded you, I told you some time ago, there was an incident at Sparndale police station where a young policeman, Aldridge, was shot and killed by a criminal known as Gun Youth. This criminal was arrested. He was taken to the police station. He was not searched. He whipped out a firearm, shot and killed the police rank. At the very breakdown in 2003, there was an incident where a deranged former policeman, Solomon Blackman, walked into the compound, disarmed the sentry, and proceeded to kill two policemen. Richard Griffith, assistant superintendent, was a very good friend of mine. We all worked at the TSU for a number of years. At the time of his death, he was an officer at the traffic department in Vietnam. And Corporal Lachana, those two were shot and killed. 3 other policemen were injured. I know that at that time, following that incident, measures were put in place to make sure that persons do not enter the compound with firearm. But as I have been saying, and as we have seen, these things are put in place, and after a while, people get complacent, and it's back to square one. So you have an incident based on what is reported by the police cooperate unit and carried in various sections of the media. There was an incident where the woman is alleged to have damaged the motor vehicle of her husband. The husband went to the police station to make a report. He was followed by his wife, now deceased. The story goes that while he was making the report to the police, she was outside. He pointed her out to the police, and the police then decided to invite her into the police station. Now here it is, a report is made against the person. The person is pointed out, and again we say the procedures are not followed, because if there is a report and you have reasons to arrest, then automatically the person should be searched and make sure that, as we have said, the person cannot injure himself or herself, cannot conceal, cannot dispose of exhibits, whatever it is. But it should be routine procedure that once a person is arrested, I know they will say, well, the person was not arrested. But I say normal policing procedure. A report is made and you have grounds based on the report to make an arrest, do the correct thing. It is fortunate. And again, as I said, they have not indicated what type of firearm was used. Based on what they said that there was this clicking sound. That is what the police corporate communication unit said. The young lady whipped out some instrument. There was a clicking sound, and she fell to the ground. Clicking sound, not an explosion. So it leaves me to wonder, given the fact that this person was an animal rights activist, whether indeed a firearm was used, regular firearm, or whether this was one of those humane pistols that are used to slaughter animals. Because if it was a firearm, then I find it difficult to understand why the police corporate communication unit will speak about a clicking sound. The regular firearm would not make any clicking sound unless it was a revolver and the ammo would have fallen on an empty chamber. Other than that, it's an explosion, loud noise. And so this clicking sound that you're talking about leads me to believe that perhaps it was not the regular type of firearm. It was what perhaps it was called these penetrative captive devices that are used to humanely slaughter animals. So let's get some clarification, please. Police Cooperate Communication Unit. And an incident like this, measures that are to be put in place, I said repeatedly, this is not a divisional issue. This is, even though the incident occurred in Regional Division 4A, the fact that we had at BV police station where a man is taken to the police station compound and a gun is then found, having been arrested in the village and taken there, and the previous incidents that I've referred to, this requires intervention at the force administrative level, the force administration level, and more specifically at the operational level. So the person who sits there at force operations is the person who should be spearheading the response, putting out SOPs to make sure that these matters are properly addressed. Because I worry for the safety of the ranks at the station. Imagine if that was a firearm. Imagine if the person was homicidal and not merely suicidal. And imagine or think that let's say they had a pistol with 6, 7 rounds or even more. Some pistols hold as many as 15, 14, 15 rounds. And imagine that person walked in there and decided, well, look, they're not going out alone. They're going to take as many as they can take with them. That is a very worrying thought. And therefore, I know that I have been very critical, and I say justifiably so, but please let us use this as a learning experience. Please make sure that measures are implemented to safeguard, to make safe procedures for the ranks. And again, let me emphasize, it is not only about putting something on people, which I believe that the masqueraders will find very difficult to do, but it's to make sure that once an order is made, it is well publicized, it is well, you go through a process where people are trained to operate in a particular manner. I mean, it's very disgusting and very disconcerting that in this modern age, policemen are still arresting people and not going through those basic procedures to secure themselves. We had the incident that with the high-speed chase that led to the death. Unfortunately, some would say the policeman is now charged. These things require intervention at the force admin level. So please, those who are listening, and I know they are listening, as one of my colleagues said, and I have said in the local parlance, them are watchery. Them are watchery, but perhaps for the wrong reasons. They are watching to hear when Slow will say something that they can run to the court and say, look, he has defamed me, he has maligned me, and to say all kind of things. But Lord, use I'm telling you things that you can make sure that you can learn from, and you could put something in place. And if the person in charge, is incapable of putting out the appropriate SOP, I am sure they have enough brain power, man. The brain power is there. The brain power is there for people to come up with some proper, sensible SOP to deal with this issue. And again, I remarked before, and I'm remarking again, about this use of cell phone, where these incidents are immediately I'm not going to blame the police necessarily because I don't know who did it, but this too was recorded. I saw a video with the deceased person lying there on the ground. So unprofessional. You have this incident. There was an incident in Kingston with the doctor, viral video all over the place with the doctor. And I reminded or I informed that there was an incident not so long ago in the UK where two constables went to guard a scene of a murder, homicide scene. They encroached into the area where the bodies were, took photographs, and circulated among a friend group. I think it was a WhatsApp group. They were both charged criminally and sent to jail. I think they're still there serving time. So that is how serious some jurisdictions take this matter. You're there and you record. And that is the thing now. It is an accident. The first thing that happens, record. Civilians, you could understand. But some of these recordings are clearly done by the ranks who are there. It is clearly done by the ranks who are there. And it brings me to the point where I want to, again, remind the administration that when I sat on the Standing Order Review Committee, we put together a standing order to deal with the use of portable electronic devices, cell phones, handheld sets, iPads, and this thing, because it is a worrying phenomenon where you go around and policemen are on duty, phone. Traffic ranks on duty, phone. You had the incident with the lawyer Crawford recording and just putting up on social media. You had the incident in Barbies with the Tina and Mona incident recorded in the police station. This should not be allowed to happen. There must be a standard operating procedure. There must be guidelines on the use of mobile communication communication device by ranks when they are on duty. And I've said the standing order, the draft standing order is there. It's only for the administration, what they call the executive leadership team, to pick it up, go it through, make whatever modifications are deemed necessary, and have it implemented. The time is past due for something to be done about this type of thing. So again, my condolences to the relatives, friends of the deceased, and really sad. And people are saying that even the article yesterday from Established News, you got to reach out. People have serious issues, and unfortunately, in many cases, they don't believe or they don't know who to turn to assist them. So please let us reach out and try to assist people who may be suffering from what type of depression or some issue, so that we can realize that that is not the way to go. People are there. There's a shoulder for them to lean on. Now, as I said, SOPs are needed. So please, as I've said again, people are lucky. Again, we don't know. I don't know, because the Cooperative Communication Unit did not say what type of firearm. But outside of this incident, if you continue like that, people should not, you're going to end up into serious problems. People, civilians, should not be allowed to walk into a police station without going through some process to ensure that they don't have firearm. You have a lot of deranged people out there. And you know, with all of these incidents where people seem now they can attack the police willy-nilly, God forbid somebody decide to walk into a police station where you have so many vulnerable ranks, because it's not all the ranks are armed, but you expect that at that first point of entry, you should have measures there to deal with it. So please make sure that that is done. And you know, it is ironic that in many cases, you cannot go into a public building, including police buildings, with a short pants. You cannot go in there, women cannot go in with a sleeveless top. But you can walk into a police station with a firearm or an instrument that can cause death and destruction. Something must be wrong. Can't go in with short pants. We have a family joke, and this is, well, it's not a joke, I'm saying a joke. An incident at police headquarters some years ago, a brother-in-law of mine went there to transact business. He traveled from the States. He had on a short pants, and he was told at the gate that he cannot go into the compound with a short pants. He has to be, well, they didn't tell him what he has to wear, but they said, cannot go with a short pants. And this gentleman went to Lamar Street, and the first place he saw selling clothes, he went there to look for a pants to wear. He couldn't find a cheap long pants, so he bought a skirt. He bought a skirt and went back to police headquarters in the squad, and it was mere confusion. The officers had to intervene. Can't remember how it ended, but he turned up in the skirt. He said, "You told me I can't come with short pants, but look, people are going in there with skirt, so I have bought a skirt." So you need to make sure that we deal with this thing. People can't go in with short pants. They can't go in with sleeveless women, but they can walk in with firearm without any proper check. So look at that, please. The next thing, I've been asked repeatedly about the imminent retirement of the person who's carrying out the functions of the commissioner, Mr. Nigel Oppie. People calling me, what is the position? Yes, last week I had a call from a journalist who asked all kinds of questions. Now, let me address it again. First of all, by saying that Mr. Oppie is not the Commissioner of Police. He has been carrying out the functions of Commissioner of Police from, I think it was August or late July 2020. A couple of days before the government took office, the new government took office, he took over from Commissioner Leslie James, who proceeded on pre-retirement leave, and he has been in that position since. And let me explain, he's not acting because that requires a constitutional process. He was never given any letter or instrument to act. He is just carrying out the function. He sits there and performs the functions of the Commissioner of Police. People have asked all kind of questions that are best answered by the legal people. People have asked me, well, he doesn't have any instrument to act. So what happened to those persons who he might have had cause to punish, might have had cause to dismiss? Can they challenge? I don't know. That is for the legal people to address, but I'm telling you that there is no substantive commissioner for going on to 2 years now. Now, OPI is due to proceed on retirement leave very shortly, I understand. Rumor has it that it's sometime in this month. But as you know, as I've said before, it is a big state secret. Imagine the person who sits there in the office of the commissioner is due to proceed and leave. And the public, that should be in the public interest. Nobody knows when he's going to leave. No one knows. But the question that has been asked is about the promotion of the person to fill the vacant seat of Commissioner of Police. I said before, in terms of the seniority of the Guyana Police Force, after OPI, the next senior person is Deputy Commissioner Paul Williams. They are both deputy commissioners, but OPI was senior to him by date of appointment. They were both on the same day appointed, but when you have backdating, OPI is senior to Williams. So the next senior person is Williams. I've also said that based on all that has transpired from 2020 to now, it is clear that the government, current government, does not favor Williams. When they came in, and this is what the president told me this, so this is not hearsay, that Williams had matter that being investigated, allegations were made against him. I am aware that those matters were investigated and proven to be false. It was just malicious and vindictiveness on the part of two officers. It was investigated. But William was made to proceed on 192 days leave, sometime August, September of 2020. 192 days. He did not apply for leave. He was sent on leave. At the end of the leave, when he resumed, he was sent to the CDC, which is the emergency place there. And it was then recognized that Williams was senior to the person who was in charge, because you know an officer of the Guyana Defense Force is in charge. So he was then moved to the COVID-19 unit, where he currently is. Now that the measures, President announced recently that all the measures are going to be relaxed, I don't know what will be the position of Williams, because the president did see that we should go back to pre-COVID, the measures, the COVID measures. So Williams is the next senior person. Now, the Constitution, Article 211.1 is very clear on the appointment of Commissioner of Police and Deputy Commissioners of Police. And let me read it to you. I don't want to guess. Let me read it to you. It says, the Commissioner of Police and every Deputy Commissioner of Police shall be appointed by the President, acting after meaningful consultation with the leader of the opposition and the chairperson of the Police Service Commission, after the chairperson has consulted with the other members of the commission. I was involved in that process, so I know. President has to consult. That is what the Constitution says. President has to consult with the chairman. I was the chairman of the Police Service Commission. I was summoned for the consultation, and in anticipation, because once we took office in August of 2018, we knew that those appointments were to be made, commissioner and deputy commissioner. So we sat, we discussed, we did all the due diligence. We had interviews with the candidates and all of that. So that when I was summoned, I as chairman of the Police Service Commission was summoned by the president. We were prepared, and the consultation took place. The president, according to the Constitution, is also required to have meaningful consultation with the leader of the opposition. Meaningful. I don't know what the legal people will say what that means, but I know there was a case that went before the CCJ, that's the Caribbean Court of Justice, where they defined what meaningful is. And my understanding is that meaningful is not just calling to say, well, look, I will appoint this person, this person. There have to be meaningful consultation. So that is what the Constitution says. You're aware too, or if you're not, let me tell you, that currently there is no opposition leader and there is no police service commission. So lawfully, constitutionally, no appointment to the office of commissioner or deputy commissioner could be made. I say lawfully, but given my recent experience, I am not. Well, let me say this too. In a recent interview, the president is reported to have said that when the time comes for the appointment of commissioner, he will follow the constitutional provision. That is what sometime last week or sometime recently the president is reported to have said. But let me say this: based on my experience, previous experience, I am not reassured by that statement. I am not reassured by that statement, but I have just told you what the Constitution says about the appointment of commissioner and deputy commissioners. The appointment is made by the president, meaningful consultation with the leader of the opposition and the chairman of the Police Service Commission. There's no leader of the opposition. There's no Police Service Commission. So I'm saying, without fear of contradiction, that no appointment for those people who have, clarity there now. I hope that there's some clarity. Now, let me say this. Let me go on to tell you again, I made the point to you about Williams being the next senior person. From all indication, the person who is favored is the Assistant Commissioner Clifton Ikin. Clifton Ikin, in the run-up to the 2020 election, boasted that the opposition leader, then opposition leader, promised him that when the government changed, he would be appointed as the commissioner. That was news all over police headquarters, and all of us who are in tune with what is going on knew that. He even created this list of persons who would have sent here. James was to go, this person was to go here, and this person was to go there. And I am saying this too, that following the change of government, many of those changes that he had indicated took place. So even though he was not appointed commissioner as promised, the changes were made. The changes that he had said would be made were made. And I repeat here again, I know Clifton Ikin very well, and I'm saying that he's not academically or otherwise qualified to be commissioner of police. And I'm saying more than that, that if you're going to be talking, I mean, recently there was a police officers conference. I'll address that shortly. And if you're going to talk, if you're talking about the development of the organization, the Guyana Police Force, and you're looking towards the future, you want to tell me Clifton Ikin is what? I think he's approaching 54, 53 plus. 53 plus. The mandatory retirement age in the Guyana Police Force is 55. So you're going to appoint someone who is 53 plus, who in my view is not academically or otherwise qualified. So what are you saying? What are you saying? I interpret that to mean that you're saying that you don't give a heck as to what happened in the police force, about the development, about the professionalization of the police force. If such an appointment is made, that is how I will read something like that, right? So let's see what will happen. I hope that I'm proven wrong, but let's see. That is what all the indications are, that is the way they want to go. 53 plus man, 53 years plus, and of course, some of the people here will tell you that is not the correct age. But I don't know. I wasn't the midwife. I'm not the father. I'm not the godfather. I wasn't the man who baptized. But people are saying that is not the correct age. I am saying that I do not know. I have never seen as they call in the country, the board paper. They don't say board certificate in the country. I have not seen the board paper. I don't know the true age. But even if it is what he claims to be, I am saying that if you're thinking about the development of the organization, you should not be appointing a man who is 54 or 50, or somewhere around 54 years old when the mandatory retirement age is 55. In my view, again, I say the man is not academic. Well, the man is not academically qualified, and otherwise. And I remind you, that I lectured at the University of Guyana on the subject public safety and security back in 2009, and that gentleman was a student of mine. The gentleman was a student of mine, and further, I say that. Further, I say that. I can't read and spell for you. I cannot read and spell for you. You form your own conclusions based on what I have said. And not only what I have said, I have been encouraging you all along to do your own research. Don't be intellectually lazy. Do your research and come to your own conclusion as to whether the person is qualified or not. So that is it. People have been asking me about that. Let me come to the officers' conference. Last week, they had the annual police officers' conference. Annual police officers' conference. Some people say police annual officers' conference, whatever it is. I know years ago, we used to say police annual officers' conference. And when Sidney Bombray was Deputy Commissioner of Administration, he said, it is the annual police officers' conference. So whether it's semantics or not, I don't know. I'm not an English major, so I don't know. But whatever it is, it was held last week. Now, many statements, I call them platitudes, were made, bandied about the thing. And one that struck me, based on the corporate communication unit release, is one statement that is reported to have been made by His Excellency the President, who declared the conference open. And let me read what the corporate communication unit of the Guyana Police Force reported that the President said. President is quoted as saying that the days of boots on the ground, especially in a small population, are really coming to a situation of being outdated. He goes on to say the new dimension of policing is eyes on you, monitoring and intelligence gathering. And that is where we have to position the force through investment in resources that build the capacity in monitoring and having a situation where we have eyes on you and developing a modern police force that is on the platform of smart policing. A lot said there. Well, I try to understand what is being said. And if you look at the first part, it says about it talks about the days of boots on the ground, especially in power plant, are really coming to a situation of being outdated. Who is advising? Who is advising His Excellency on this? Let me say this: boots on the ground in terms of policing will always be necessary. Will always be necessary. No matter how you implement this eyes on you and smart policing. I suspect that when you talk about smart policing, they're referring to technology, CCTV cameras, and to monitor situations and so on. Let me remind all that even when you monitor, even when you have cameras, arrests are not, cameras don't make arrests. Cameras do not make arrests. Policemen on the ground, boots on the ground will always, and that is always a critical aspect of policing. Look at the developed countries. Look at the UK. Look at America, New York in particular. Police beat, people are there. You have to have policemen. You have to have boots on the ground. Because I will say again, those cameras, you could put 1 million cameras. You could put a camera at every, as we say in the country, at every lantern post. The more sophisticated people will say at every lamp post. But we country people will say you could put it at every lantern post. They don't arrest people. Police have to come and do the arrest. So boots on the ground and patrols to respond timely and appropriately to incidents will always be necessary if you're talking about a proper, responsive, professional police force. So, Your Excellency, whoever advises you or is advising you on that aspect, you should send them home. You should send them packing because you're getting bad advice, right? You're getting as a song, there's a song, I think it was Sparrow talk about Ramgoot advice. That is bad advice. You have to have. So even as you move towards technology, technology must be supportive of the routine, regular policemen on the ground. Technology should be in terms of entertaining report. So you don't have to write a thing in the book. You have computers and all of that. I was exposed to that in 1994 when I went to police staff college in the UK. The first time I saw it in Northamptonshire, Campbell Square Police Station. I was taken there for a tour and to see them in the operations room, monitoring parks, car parks and places. And when they saw something suspicious, they used the radio, they used the communication network to inform the people on the ground, the boots that were on the ground. Look, something looked funny in this area, and the people on the ground will then intervene. And again, I want to remind you, we have had some very high-profile incidents of murder and other incidents, carjacking and all of these things around Georgetown, cameras and so on. So yes, the president talked about spending money and improving resources. That is good, but you have to spend money on your human resources to have them properly trained and equipped to carry out the proper function. I referred earlier about cell phones. People, every policeman gets a cell phone. Money should be spent to make sure that they all have proper radios so they can communicate with radios, as happened in the modern forces. Not cell phone. I travel all around this place and I look to see if policemen are on the phones as they are in Guyana, and I'm yet to see that cell phone on duty, right? So yes, there's need for the improvement of resources, but the human resource will always be the most critical resource. And please, I say, whoever is advising about this thing that boots on the ground is going to be outdated, that is Ramgoat advice. Person should be sent home. Ramgoat advice. That boots on the ground in policing can never be outdated. Will never be outdated. So, and coming out to the conference too, the crime chief, Mr. Wendell Blanham, again, they come with the figures to show that serious crimes are on the decline. Rattle out a lot of figures and so on. Mr. Conway, my colleague and co-accused, addressed it before. People have addressed it in the media. Let me say this. You can come with all the figures that you want to show that according to your records, that there's a decrease in serious crimes. At the end of the day, it is how the people out there perceive it to be. It is how they perceive, whether they perceive that it is safe enough to move around, whether they perceive that they are likely to be victims of crime. So you have to do more work. And let me address the figures. As Mr. Conway pointed out some time ago, sometime in the 90s, the late Commissioner of Police, Mr. Larry Leland Lewis, came up with these serious crimes for the purpose of statistics. That is since in the 90s. Double murder, manslaughter, and some robberies and so on. Robbery with firearm or use, robbery without firearms, and that type of thing. So, and they have stuck to that religiously over the years. I am saying that the time has come that if you want to have a proper analysis of serious crimes in Guyana, that you have to look at other categories of crime. So, for example, almost every week you hear about drugs, cocaine being intercepted, persons being found with large quantities of cocaine. According to the police stats, that is not a serious crime. That is not a serious crime. That is not counted in the stats. During the lead up to Christmas period, the police commander of Regional Division 5, that is West Coast Borbies, and Regional Division 9, that is Lethem, they stated, and the other people have stated, that cattle rustling is a major concern in those divisions. But according to the police, cattle rustling is not a serious crime. So that is not being tabulated when they give this release. Domestic violence, serious domestic violence. I mean, just look, every day you hear people complaining about serious domestic violence that leads to murder, that leads to people being maimed and disfigured. Those things are not considered a serious crime. So I'm saying that if you want to give a true reflection of the serious crime situation, you have to rethink the categories. I know you're comfortable with that because that tends to show you in a good light. But seriously, you have to look at other categories of crime. And the irony of the whole thing is that last week at the conference, stats are rattled out to show that there's a a significant decrease in serious crime. And only a few days ago, I think it was Monday, the American Embassy in Guyana is issuing a security advice. And what it says, let me again, I like to read these things, because people will tell you all kind of things. They issued just to say, security alert, Monday, March the 14th. The security alert raised Georgetown as critical for crime, especially incidents of robberies, sexual assault, vehicle accident, and homicides. So here it is. Last week, the crime chief, the police is saying that they're doing so well in dealing with serious crime. And a few days after, the American Embassy is issuing a security alert. I wonder if that was in response to that statement or those figures given by the crime chief. I wonder if that's the American way of saying, look, don't telling their citizens and others, don't worry with what they're saying. The reality is things are, Jobras again, chaotic for those persons. I know people listen from all over. I've had responses from all over the globe. So when I use some of these Guyanese terms, I have to take my time to explain to you what it means. When we in Guyana talk about a situation being chaotic, it is chaotic. There was a famous officer some years ago who was reading, and when he came across the word, he did not know how to pronounce the word. He could pronounce it chaotic. So Guyanese will tell you the situation is chaotic, meaning that the situation is chaotic. So perhaps that's their way of telling you that. So you have this release to say that the crime situation in Guyana, serious crime, is critical. It is critical. That is what the American Embassy is saying, and the American Embassy is warning its citizens, and of course, by extension, all, because the release is not limited to citizens alone. Right? So let's look at that. Now, the other thing that I've been asked about is the recent judgment of Justice Gino Prasad last Wednesday. Now, let me walk you through it very quickly. And it relates to the suspension of the Police Service Commission by the president. You may recall that in June of 2021, to be precise, on the 16th of June, the president suspended the Police Service Commission, of which I was the chairman, all 5 members. This is a long story. We can address it in more detail at some stage. Now, the contention we were advised by the lawyer, the contention was that the president at that time could not have lawfully suspended the Police Service Commission because the Constitution spells out the process for such a suspension. Talks about the Judicial Service Commission, it talks about a panel and all of that. Those things were Judicial Service Commission has not been in place, I understand, since around 2018. So he could not have, that is our contention. He could not have lawfully done so. He went ahead and he did so, or purported to do so. We were advised by the lawyer, Mr. Selwyn Peters, and it was public knowledge. This is not no secret. He wrote to tell the president that his action is unconstitutional, and therefore he will advise the members of the Police Service Commission to continue to carry out their functions, which we did. Now, that is on the 16th. The Chief Justice was due to deliver a decision in the Brutus matter, Brutus, the man who challenged the commission in terms of promotion, on the 18th. So on the Monday, the 18th, the decision was to be delivered. The president suspended the commission on the 16th. I am of the view that the reason that was done because the president and his advisors knew that the decision would go in favor of the commission, the Chief Justice's decision, and he did not want a police service commission to be in place when that decision was handed down, because the police service commission would have then gone ahead and make the promotions which were held up since December 2020. So the decision was not handed down on the 18th, it was handed down on the 28th. And as we had expected, we were confident the decision went in the favor of the Police Service Commission. The challenge brought by Senior Superintendent Brutus was thrown out. Police Service Commission then went ahead and released the promotion. Government said that they're not recognizing the promotion. And hear this point carefully. On the night of the 29th of June, 2021, on the program Issues on the News, which is aired by the National Communication Network, NCN, the Attorney General, Mr. Anin Landalal, said that once the president issues an order, and he called, who is Paul Slow? Paul Slow cannot defy the order. You have to carry it out. If you feel that the order is unconstitutional or unlawful, it is not for you to decide not to carry it out. You have to go to court of competent jurisdiction, and the court will decide. That is what the Attorney General said. It is there on record. Now, we went to court. We went to court through our lawyers and challenged the decision by the president to suspend the commission. But you recall too that in that challenge, we named the president as a respondent. So it was the Police Service Commission versus the secretary versus the commissioner versus the president versus. The Attorney General challenged the inclusion of the president in that matter. That was all arguments. The judge ruled, the same judge ruled that the president is immune according to the Constitution, and therefore the president cannot be named as a respondent. His name was removed. So the name was removed. On the very day that decision was handed down by the judge, we were all blindsided more or less, because the judge then decided he's going to proceed to have the substantive matter, give a timeline for affidavit and so on to be submitted. And then the Attorney General filed the same day another application to say basically that because the life of the commission had ended on the 8th of August 2021, that this matter, the substantive matter, so whether the president acted lawfully in suspending the Constitution, should not be proceeded with. That was his argument. So he went through that process again, arguments, legal arguments. I think that was in November. The judge said that he would have handed down the decision in January of 2022. There was some delay. The judge was otherwise engaged, so the decision was handed down last Wednesday. And as we had expected again, the judge said that notwithstanding the fact that the commission life came to an end, he cited all the legal cases and so on, the matter was of sufficient public importance to continue. What he ordered, well, he did say too that the commission might have been badly advised when the commission brought the action against the president, knowing that the life of the commissioner would have been ended in a short time. He said that the action should have been brought by the individual members. So what he ordered that the commission be removed as the person filing the challenge, and the chairman, Paul Slow, yours truly, who had prepared the affidavit, should be substituted. So the case now is not the Police Service Commission versus the secretary, the commissioner, attorney general, and all of that. It is not. It will be Paul Slow versus those persons, right? That is the order of the court. On the very afternoon, last Wednesday afternoon, there's a release that the attorney general challenged that too. He has decided to appeal that to the full court. So that is where it is. That is where it is. It has gone to the full court. I expect I am not surprised by that. And we in the former members of the Service Commission, I don't think we're surprised. We know that they do not want the substantive case, which will determine whether the president acted lawfully or not in suspending the Constitution. They don't want that to be ventilated because they know, and you don't have to be a lawyer, just look at the Article 225 of the Constitution of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, and you will see the procedure laid out there as to what should happen if you want to suspend a constitutional commission. And then you will see right away, based on what we are contending, that wasn't followed. And again, you have a situation where the Attorney General said, go to court. You go to court now, they don't want to have the matter ventilated in court. But time will tell. Jimmy Cliff sang that song. Time will tell. Time will tell. The delays are going to be there, we know. And the unfortunate thing is that while the Attorney General continues to challenge this matter, 132 ranks of the Guyana Police Force who were promoted by the Police Service Commission, the promotion is in abeyance because the government refused to recognize the promotion. And so the morale, we know, I get calls frequently. Mr. Conway indicated people call him frequently. They want to know what is the position with this matter and other matter because the people are demoralized, and justifiably so. I suspect some of those persons who were promoted there might have retired or close to retirement. Government said they're not recognizing the promotion, so we have to wait. We have to wait. And given how things are going, I believe it will be a long wait. Let's see how it will happen. So that is on that. Now, the next thing I want to tell you about, in yesterday's papers, I think it was Stabrook News, I think it's mixed, I shouldn't say mixed emotion. I was pleased to see a retired senior officer from the Guyana Police Force, Mr. Rohan Singh. He worked with me at the Presidential Guard. And I know when I was the head of the Presidential Guard, he was there with me in 1994. And he became the head of the Presidential Guard. And he was I think he headed the Police Force Audit and Inspection Unit from 2015. And he wrote, and I encourage you to read it, it says in Stabrook News, yesterday's Stabrook News, it is under the caption, is there a correlation between Guyana's road carnage and rampant corruption in traffic headquarters and divisional traffic headquarters? That is a question that is being asked by Mr. Rohan Singh. And he gave some statistics. And basically what he's saying, based on the statistics that the research he did, the investigation he did, shows that corruption, there's rampant corruption in the traffic department. In terms of license, look at the statistics. I don't have all before me now. I have it on the computer somewhere, because basically what he's saying too is that, they have the learner driver package. You buy the learner driver package, you take the exam. He's saying that in many cases, persons are issued with results to say they pass and they never took the examination. You will recall some time ago, a sergeant was charged and criminally placed before the court because he had run-ins, racket with driver's license. And let me say this, some of you may not know, but let me say this. I was the traffic chief in Guyana on 2 occasions, perhaps unprecedented. I was the traffic chief, then I was moved to a division during a period, and then when they felt things had returned to normalcy, I went back to traffic. In those days, I used to be referred to as the firefighter. Once there's problem in a particular area, I was the man who was sent. Traffic, A division, President Guard, I was the person who was sent. When I was the traffic chief on the first occasion, when I got there, I saw a lot of the system was not what it should be. And myself and a university colleague, because I was going to university at the time, took it on as a university project to change the learner driver program. So the current learner driver program that involves the package and all of that, I am the person who's responsible for implementing that. So nobody can tell me how it should run. I don't know what goes on now, but I'm telling you the system that was implemented had a lot of safety measures. And what some of the things that I see occurring, read occurring, could not have occurred if the system was properly followed. For example, we had when it came to the actual examination, the multiple choice theoretical examination, we had about 3 or 4 different sets of examination. They were kept in the safe, my safe at traffic headquarters. So when it was an examination day, I would go in there and randomly take out one of these packages. So if you had were to ask me what were the questions of party, I could not tell you. It was a random process. We had invigilators outside of traffic conducting, because we knew information came after a while that people used to take exam for others. So we put measures in place to deal with those things. And the reports were that a lot of the corruption was minimized. But to see what is going on now, and to hear the questions, and to see the statistics that were released there by Ron. And Ron, I thank you for that. Because, let me say, a lot of people, when I speak about exposing corruption and incompetence, people believe it's slow trying to get back at people. I'm not trying to get back at anyone. I am using this platform to highlight these issues with the expectation that those in authority, because I know they're watching. I remember saying I'm watching, they're recording this too. So I hope that they are objective enough to go through and to see where the problems are and to try to fix them. I hope that is being done. Not just look at me to hear when I say that I have for defamation and all that crap. Look, and because a lot of educational thing, even if I may say so myself, people have been communicating with me to tell the program, they learn so much, especially members of the police force. And again, let me say, because people say, oh, you change the system. The system that I inherited as traffic chief, was one where you had to go to classes at prescribed times. And the number of persons who were allowed to go to those classes was very limited, 30, 40 persons per session. So therefore, you had a long backlog, hundreds of persons waiting to get on to do the learner driver training. And you could understand, you could guess what took place there. To get on the program, allegations were made, credible allegations of corruption. You have to pay to get on. And we thought that was not good enough, so we changed it. If we're talking about change, the president at the officers' conference remarked about improvement. If we're talking the Minister of Home Affairs, I believe, and we were advocating for that it is time that this whole process of learner driver be removed from being a police responsibility. Many countries, have a department that deals with that under the Ministry of Transportation. And I think it is time that they have a department out of the Ministry of Transportation, Works and Transport, whatever it is, to deal with all aspects of learner driver, issuing of license, certification of motor vehicles. That should not be a police responsibility. It should not be. So I'm hoping that those who are listening, those who are recording, will listen to this. When I was there, I fought against police being responsible for road marking, police being responsible for traffic lights. Now, those things have been moved from the police to the Ministry of Works and Transportation. I am saying that the process to issue driver's license, the whole process, application, theory, practice, the certification of motor vehicles should be removed from the police. You have police who are licensing and certifying officers to certify whether a vehicle is fit to be used on the road with little or no training in mechanics and so on. They could just go to check the headlight is working, the signals are working, the wiper is working, the tires don't have, as we used to say, white mouth, mean that it is not bare, and they certify the vehicle as being fit for the road. With all of these vehicles that we have, with all the accidents we have, it is time for those for professional people to check on those vehicles, professional. So you have an accident. Let's say there's a terrible accident yesterday on the quarantine, 2 persons died. There's no system to check on the mechanical aspect to see if there's a problem with the mechanics of the vehicle. They say, oh, speeding. Yeah, speeding is a main contributory factor to fatal and other accidents in Guyana. Drinking and driving under the influence of alcohol is also a main contributory factor. But in a modern system, you also need to be able to examine the mechanics of the vehicle. So I am saying to the powers that be that that aspect of the whole process, the licensing of drivers to operate vehicles on the road, should not be a police responsibility. I'll talk about traffic some more on another program. The time really flies. I see how the hour is up. I want to close by saying to you, I noted a few days ago, I think it was yesterday, some days ago, that the release has been made and there's an official gazette. I got a copy of it, that the COVID-19 protocols are no longer in effect. Well, let's say most of the protocols. So, for example, gathering protocol in relation to mass gathering is no longer there. So all your sport, man, bubble like a surf, as we used to say. Surf was a soap powder. So back in the day when I was a little boy, I said, let me bubble like a surf. So bubble your sport, congregate and gather. But I want to caution you. I want to let you know that COVID is still around. Might not be the same worrying numbers, but given what they have said about the transmissibility of this deadly virus, you need to make sure that you take care and protect yourself at all times. Do like the last instruction the referee gives to a boxer is protect yourself at all times. Protect yourselves at all times when it comes to COVID. Wash your hands, wear your mask, try to distance if you can. Notwithstanding the fact that you can now go into buildings without showing vaccination cards and all of that. So make sure that you do your thing, right? Make sure that you protect yourself at all times. And as I said, I was a boxer. Some people might laugh. Yes, Louis Sabah. I was a light heavyweight boxer. And I stopped boxing when I encountered a referee who did not know to count. You want to know why I say that? Because I was fighting in a national novice championship, came up against a prisoner. They had a vibrant gym at the Georgetown prison mainly, named the Republican Gym. And I came up against the light heavyweight champion, Robert Nixon called Poonhead, big strapping red man. And I am there. I was light on my feet and I'm moving and I'm jabbing and I think for so long. Morris Busy Boys was the man who took me up. The old boxers will know. Busy took me up, said, slowly jab and run, don't think. So jabbing and running and jabbing and running. And all in the second round, they want to catch me the right cross, boot up. And the next thing the referee, 5, 6, 7. So I said, nah, you ask you continue. I said, no. So I said, small can't come. What happened to 1, 2, 3, and 4? You started counting for 5. I said, no, this is the last time I box. So let me end with that joke. I guess you understand what happened is knockout again, knockout. I didn't hear from 1 to 4 or from 5, but I interpreted that the referee can't come, so I finished boxing. Now, enjoy the rest of your day, enjoy the rest of the week. God's willing, I'll see you again next week. Protect yourself at all times. And thank you for your continued support. Thank you for listening. God bless and see you next week. Bye.